Okay, hold on a second. We're going to be recording this so you can check it out at another time. Yeah. Okay. Okay, gracias. Okay, well, welcome, guys. Let me go ahead and open up a presentation here. Let me see which one I'm going to give you. Got different presentations for almost everything. Okay, well, just so you know, as far as the certification goes, on the, let's see, where's my calendar here? Oh, there's no calendar here. I'm not using my office today, so it's kind of a little weird. But a week from Thursday, which is the 12th. The 12th, we're going to do the orientation, question and answer session, and last minute review of any questions that you guys might have regarding what you need to turn in. It's imperative that you show up for the Thursday, the 12th session. Otherwise, I will not evaluate you. Is that? That's when I assign. That's when I assign the scheduled times for the evaluations. And so it is imperative that you attend. Give me a second. 227. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys. Give me 1 second here. And I'm going to ask that everybody turn off their microphones. Christine, Luis Gallo, Pride, you guys have your microphones on. You need to turn them off, otherwise there's going to be kind of an echo. Okay. Luis and Pride, please turn off your mics. Perfect, Pride. On the left-hand side of your dashboard, left-hand bottom, perfect. Okay, let me share my screen with you guys. Okay, you should be seeing, there you go. Welcome to this workshop on the Standard of Competency, Real Estate Consultancy Services and Tourist Zones 277. I'm your friendly neighborhood Conocer evaluator, and that's all I am. Why do I say that? Because if you have any questions regarding the licensing issue, where do you pay your license, how much is your license, I'm not the right person to contact. Just as a little explanation, at this moment in time, guys, you guys can get your license from the state of Baja California SOAR, just paying your 10,000 pesos or 3,000 peso fee within, I think it's the Secretary of Finances at the office, well, in each municipality. The way the law is written is that you guys have a grace period up until the 31st of December of 2019. Effective the 1st of January 2020, and this is as far as how I interpret the law and how others that I've talked to interpret the law. Once again, you know, somebody else might interpret it a little bit differently, but I'm just giving you what I know or what I've heard. So you have this grace period as far as proving your capacity to be a real estate agent. That grace period ends on January 1st, 2020. I'm not sure if on January 1st, 2020, they're going to call you, those that have a license, and ask them, okay, where's your certification? I'm not sure if that's going to happen. I'm not sure if you get your license today, for example, if that license is good for a year and you don't have to prove your competency within that year. I'm not sure. Once again, anything having to do with the license issues, Vince Ferrero, the president of AMPI Los Cabos, will be present on the 12th of September, and he can explain that a little bit more to you. As far as my role, like I said, I'm your friend. Evaluate you. And at the end of the process, you end up, if you pass, you end up getting a certificate. That certificate meets one of the requirements for the state license. Okay, the knowledge requirement, let's put it that way. What other requirements there are, that's something you're gonna have to find out from the state, not from me. Okay, now just a little recap on who am I. I've got a digital marketing company called GPS. I'm an instructor with LGC Real Estate School. I also collaborated on Mundo Inmobiliario, a radio program, which I'm going to be on, I think, tonight or Thursday night. And I'm a certified instructor here at AMPI, or the CIA, which is AMPI's training component. Okay, The first step of the evaluation process is you guys are going to submit a diagnostic evaluation. That was sent to you, I believe, in the email that I sent yesterday. The diagnostic is 20 questions, true or false. Don't get too hung up on it. It's just a diagnostic. It does not count whatsoever as far as your certification goes. It's basically to let you know and let me know whether you're out in left field or whether you actually have some knowledge in the real estate field. There are 20 questions in this evaluation. If you get 17, 18, 19, or 20 correct, I'm going to suggest that you continue with the evaluation. If you get anything under 17, I'm going to suggest that you maybe take a training course and then get evaluated. But ultimately, it is your decision whether or not to continue with the evaluation at that point. Okay, so I'm just letting you know. Yes, it's an evaluation. So the diagnostic evaluation.
Javier, I'm sorry to interrupt. Samantha here. I'm just going through the email that you sent, and I don't see the 20 question questionnaire.
Okay, well, let me verify that real quickly. It's normally something that I throw on generically. If not, I'll send that to you today. I will find, hold on, give me a chance. I do a lot of copy, oops, wrong email. I do a lot of copy paste in my emails. So, okay, someone's saying they haven't received the information. That's fine. Sent yesterday. Okay. You are in the correction. Okay, well, fine. Let me go ahead and resend something to all of you then. Give me a second. Well, you know what? I'll do it at the end of the webinar. How's that?
Thanks very much, Javier.
Yeah, that's my mistake. There's going to be, you guys are going to turn in your documents in a PDF format, but there's certain documents that you need to turn in printed. The diagnostic evaluation is something you need to bring with you in printed form during your evaluation, okay? You don't need to bring it on the 12th. You need to bring it on the 13th or 14th, depending what hour what you get assigned for your evaluation. So there's 4 documents that you need to bring with you in printed form. One is the diagnostic. The other, which is in the email that I sent, is the registration form, or what we call the ficha de registro. I also require a copy of your ID, okay, and a copy of your CURP, copy of CURP. You do not need to turn in a curriculum, as it says in one of the documents that I sent you regarding the photograph. I'm sending you that document for the photograph so you know the specifications of the photograph. Everything else on there you can ignore. I don't need a CV or curriculum vitae. I don't need it, okay? All I need in printed form is diagnostic, registration form, copy of ID, and copy of CURP. Those are the 4 things that I require, guys, okay? Now, there are certain elements that make up the standard of competency, and each of there's 6 elements in this standard, and one or more of those elements may contain one or more of the following. I'm going to explain to you exactly what each one entails. When I talk about performance, I'm talking about a mock simulation that you guys are going to do of the real estate process from the moment when you're at the office trying to get an exclusive listing to the moment where you're at the notary signing off and getting that nice commission, especially in Los Cabos, where you guys charge more than anyone else in Mexico. So performance means simulation. When I talk about products means it's a portfolio of evidence that you need to turn in. In this particular standard, guys, the weight of this standard, or what counts most in this standard, is the products or the documents that you need to turn in. And so I'm going to explain in detail the way that it needs to be turned in for your benefit, for what Conocer requires as well. Which goes. All of these parts get tested in one way or another. The performance is your simulation, the products is your documents that you're going to turn in, and the knowledge gets tested through a questionnaire. The questionnaire is 15 questions. Guys, it's easy enough that I think my mom could pass it, and she doesn't sell real estate. So I don't think you need to worry about the questionnaire. The hard part in this standard is definitely the products. Now, as far as the attitudes, habits, and values goes, I would not worry my head over that. You don't get any points for that. You might get points deducted. If, for example, during your performance you scream at your client or you call your client a bad name, then I might deduct some points for your attitude, habit, or values, or if you lie to the client. But I haven't had to do that yet. So anyway, as I was saying, this particular standard, EC0277, has 6 elements. These are the 6 right here, or 6 stages, let's put it that way, 6 stages of the evaluation process. First is when you're identifying prospective property owners and trying to get that exclusive listing. Second is when you're obtaining that exclusive listing and doing the whole signing of the exclusive listing agreement. 3 is when you're starting to promote the property through your various promotion channels. 4 is when you're starting to get calls from prospective buyers for these properties. 5 is when you show the properties, and 6 is when you're closing real estate transactions in tourist zones. As far as the simulation goes, or the performance goes, you guys can bring with you whatever documentation you think might help you in this process. Now, I believe in the email that I sent you a guide performance. I did. Let me open that up. The guide performance, guys, you can bring this with you as well. I mean, it's not a question of memorizing all the steps that you need to know in order to pass a certification. It's a question of covering each step in the standard. Now, this performance guide comes directly from the standard of competency. Okay, you will be evaluated on possibly all parts of the standard, or just on certain parts of the standards. Be prepared to be evaluated on all parts of the standard. Oh, by the way, that's not my number anymore. I'm gonna have to change that. Okay, but anyway, I'll give you my number at the end of this session. So once again, performance guide means that's the simulation part. We'll get into that right now. Okay. 1 second. Okay. The way that I want you to turn in, oops, hold on. The way that I want you to turn in your documents, guys, is in one single PDF form. Let me repeat myself. One single PDF form. I do not want you to turn in 101 forms like this person did right here. I will not accept that, okay? Because I'm not going to be looking in 20 different documents to see if you're covering the required information that the standard is asking. So it's going to be one single PDF form. You're going to start it off, product requirements for certification process with your name and your contact information on that first cover page, okay? I'm going to go into further detail on how you should turn in your documents, but that's just letting you know, one single PDF form. Okay, now the first element is looking for real estate property owners of real estate, or looking for property owners of real estate in tourist transaction. I'm going to discuss the simulation or the performance part. I'm actually going to do it using this thing that I sent you guys. I think that's the best way to demonstrate this part. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Okay, for purposes of this session, of this training session, I'm going to go ahead and be the candidato, or the candidate. So I'm going to be you guys. And for this simulation, I want you guys to be the evaluators. Okay. For every single line in this standard, has has a point value. And if you don't touch one of the lines in the standard, you're not going to get those points. And that point value could be from 0.19 to 1.5. You're allowed to miss 3 points in the standard. So if you jump or you forgot to mention something, that just, you're going to be not getting those points, and you're only allowed to miss 3 points, guys. So my suggestion is bring this guide with you and be checking it out. Now, I've had some people in Los Cabos come in with 20-page scripts of everything they need to say, with jokes included, and stuff like that. I don't need that, guys. I mean, and I don't like it either, honestly. What I want from you guys is just bring in the checklist, and just if you have been selling real estate then this should be no problem for you. Okay, so I'm going to pretend, once again, I'm going to pretend to be the candidate, the person being evaluated, and you guys are my evaluators. I'm going to purposely skip a couple of parts just to see if you guys catch on. Okay, so here we go. Okay, Mr. Evaluator, I'm ready to begin my simulation. May I start? Perfect. Okay, let's see. First task this Monday morning is I need to find some exclusive listings because I've got some buyers coming in next month, and darn it, I don't have enough properties to show. So let me see. Let me check out my Facebook campaign to see if I've got any new leads. Nope. Any comments on Facebook? No. Oh, wait a second. Here's a WhatsApp from John Smith. Looks like he's got a friend named Joe Smith that wants to sell his house. Okay, well, here we go. He gave me the number. That's kind of nice. I have to remember to thank John for that referral. And let's see, it's Joe Smith, 664-123-4567. Okay, well, I guess let me give this Joe Smith a call. It's a simulation, so try to make it as real as possible, guys. Hello, Mr. This is Javier with Baja 123. How are you? Great. Hey, whoops, I kind of dialed somebody by mistake. Yeah, Mr. Joe Smith, a friend of ours, John Smith. Is he related to you? Ah, your cousin. Okay, okay. Yeah, you didn't mention that. Well, your cousin sent me a WhatsApp saying that. Perdón, fue error, eh? Bye. Sent me a WhatsApp saying that that you were selling a house here in Cabo. Is that correct? Okay, okay. Well, perfect. Joe, I'm bilingual. I speak Spanish and English. Would you like us to continue this conversation in Spanish or English? Okay, English sounds good. Now, a couple of questions, Joe. Have you sold real estate here in Mexico before? Okay, so you bought 4 houses and you sold 3. Oh, that's wonderful. So you're aware of good faith deposit, how escrow works, and how real estate transactions work here in Baja California Sur. Perfect. And what type of house is it, Joe? Okay, it's a private home. Is it part of an HOA? Okay. How bad are the HOA fees there? Oh, that's not too bad. Okay, okay. I figured since it's Pedregal, the HOA fees would be a little bit higher. But okay, that's kind of cool. Okay, so and how do you let's see, are you a Mexican or American, Joe? American, with Mexican residency. Oh, so no, with a citizenship. Perfect. Okay, so then you bought through a fideicomiso or through escrituras? Escrituras. Well, perfect. That makes everything a little bit easier. Okay, now, why don't you tell me a little bit about your house, Joe? Oh, really? Three levels. Wow. So you must get views of the Pacific and the Mar of Cortez. Oh, okay, okay. So that's 3 levels. Let's see, 2 bedroom, 3 bath. Actually, oh, I'm sorry, 3 bedroom, 3 bath. Okay, so they all have their own. Perfect. You got 2 pools, 1 jacuzzi, 2,000 square feet. Okay, well that's nice. Oh, a nice big home. Okay, well perfect. You know what, Joe? This is exactly the kind of listing that I'm looking for. I've got a couple of clients coming in next month that are looking for something there in Pedregal, so this might be a perfect match. So I'd love the opportunity to be able to meet with you in person, talk about a real estate company and the services we provide. So how does that sound? Okay. Now you mentioned that you were at Pedregal, Joe. If I'm coming from downtown, you know, once I pass that Scotia Bank there, and start heading up Pedregal, is it the first left or the second left? Okay, so it's the second left. Once I pass the security guard, it's the 3rd house on the left. Okay, perfect. So when are you available, Joe? Okay, sounds good then. Saturday, 2 o'clock. And what's the number? What's the actual street address? It's 231 Vista del Mar. Okay, so in that case, I'll see you Saturday at 2 p.m. This Saturday at 2 p.m. at 231 Vista del Mar. Look forward to meeting you, buddy. Okay, great. Thank you. You have a great day too. Bye-bye. Hey, hola Joe, ¿qué tal, amigo? My name is Javier Loza with Real Estate Baja 123. How are you? Wonderful. Hey, should we continue this conversation in Spanish or English? You want to practice your Spanish a little bit? Okay, well, now we'll do English. Sounds good. Okay. Wow, this is an incredible house. Do you want to sit down first? Do you want to tour it first? Sure, let's go on a little tour. Wow, incredible, nice artwork. The views is wow, fabulous. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and have a seat here. Well, first of all, your cousin's house, John's house here in Pedregal, about 6 months ago, and it actually took us 4 months to sell the house, which is way under, Cabo times here. Usually transactions, but real estate sells at a slower pace here in Los Cabos. But that was a beautiful house, and we had a great price. So the first thing I'd like to talk to you with Joe is the benefits of working with a real estate professional, in particular here in Baja California Sur. One of the things that I want to mention is in working with me, you're not just working with me and my 10 agents that work at 123, but you're actually working with over 500 real estate professionals in Baja California Sur. We all use an MLS system. It's called Flex, multiple listing system, and that allows me to upload your property into this MLS system and basically have 500 agents being able to sell the property along with me. As far as I'm concerned, working with a real estate agent should be a win-win situation. Now, I mentioned working with, not working. I wouldn't be working for you. I want to get that clear, Joe. I'd be working with you. This needs to be a win-win situation for both of us. And so I'm going to ask you some questions throughout the process that you might think, why is he asking me this? It's basically to be able to provide the best real estate services that I can provide. Now, just to let you know, I'm certified by the Secretary of Public Education. I was one of the first people to obtain my real estate license here in Baja California. Here it is. I'm kind of proud of the fact I actually got number two. I wanted number one, but I didn't get it. But we are everybody in my company is licensed, so that's one of the other benefits of working with a professional. A lot of people come to Cabo and think that because they've sold real estate in the U.S., they know how to sell real estate, and well, that's just not the case. There's certain differences in the way that we do real estate here and the way that they do it up there. Now, as far as the whole real estate consultancy process here in Mexico and how it works, well, basically, after you sign the exclusive listing, and I do work with only exclusive listings. Oh, okay, so you're familiar with exclusive listing and you have no problem with that. Okay, that's good to hear. Yeah, the whole open listing thing, we don't want to mess with that. It takes up a lot of time and it ends up being no good for anybody. And like I mentioned, especially for the fact that I will be uploading your property onto the MLS system and working with other agents to try to sell your property in the least time possible. Now, after I uploaded your properties and I take some great pictures, because I'm definitely gonna have to hire a professional photographer to come and check out this house and take some great pictures of it. I'm gonna do some publicity in the Cabo Real Estate Magazine and in the Ocean Blue Magazine and a few other of the top tier magazines here in Baja California Sur, with the purpose, obviously, obtaining prospective buyers. I'm not going to bring anybody to your house that I do not have the assurance has the financial capacity to buy your home. After I bring a pre-qualified buyer to your home, obviously the next step would be to find someone to make an offer on your home. It's okay with you. I will present you every single offer I receive because I think that's a decision that you need to make and not I. Unless you let me know right now, you don't want any offers below a certain price, then I would respect that as well. And so once we get an offer, I'll present it to you. You can agree to that offer or make a counter offer, and we can, work on that. Obviously, that's just the first process, and then setting up the whole escrow services from the prospective buyer, and finally the signing of the notary there. Now, since it's in escrituras, as you know, if we have an American buyer, then that might require a fideicomiso, but we'll work on that as the time goes by. Now, as far as the competitive difference in the services that we offer and what other agencies offer, a lot of agencies here in Los Cabos, American and Canadian markets, and their advertisement is pretty much basically all in English. And my agency, Baja 123, we're actually trilingual. We try the third language, but pretty much we're Spanish and English, and we try a little French here and there. But basically, what does that mean? I'm not only going to advertise to Canada and to the United States, I'm also going to advertise to the top markets here in Mexico, which is Guadalajara, Monterrey, and Mexico City. One of the, we've noticed in the last few years here that now about 20 to 30% of all our sales are coming from the Mexican market. And so that's one of the main differences between the services that I offer and the services that other people offer. I also focus a lot on internet and especially Facebook ad campaigns, and they've been quite effective in being able to reduce the selling time in the homes that we have an exclusive listing. Now, you mentioned, we talked about the exclusive listing. You mentioned that you're agreeing with that, but I need to mention that we charge 6%. For this particular home, the commission would be 6%. And of course, I would share that 6% commission with another agent if they brought a buying client. That's one of the reasons why working with an MLS is so effective. Are you okay with that? There is no other cost. I mean, basically, it's just the 6% over the selling price, plus IVA, which is the federal tax here. So that IVA is 0.16% of the actual total of the commission. Okay, so no, it's not 16% total. It's commission 6% times 0.16. As far as marketing and stuff, that's all covered by me. Okay. Now you mentioned that this is part of an HOA. Are you up to date on your HOA fees? Perfect. Okay, and you got the escrituras, correct? Okay. Well, perfect. I'd like to review some of the documentation here, Joe. Sometimes it's important to review the documentation from the onset in case there's any errors, a little typo here and there. I had one case where just a simple S was converted to a Z, and that took us 3 or 4 months to get that just checked out. So I sent you a list yesterday. Did you get a list of the documentation that I required? Oh, and you have a folder for me. Perfect. Well, let me see. Let me check out the documents here. Okay. Now I see the escrituras. Perfect. You're up to date on that. That's nice. Water services, you're up to date on that. Okay. Okay, HOA fees. Oh, you even got a letter from the HOA Association. Perfect, amigo. Okay. Well, actually, that all checks out. Now, you mentioned that you were now a Mexican citizen. Do you have a copy of your INE, for example? Oh, okay. Okay, this name checks out here, name checks out there. Well, perfect. Looks like you have all the documentation in order. Well, have you ever gotten a Certificado de Libertad de Gravamen or Certificate of No Liens? You never have. Okay, well, no problem. I can help you with that. But that is one of the documents that we require, and that usually needs to be pretty recent. So I think if you're telling me that there is no liens on this property, then we'll believe you for now. And when we have that documentation, we'll be definitely solicit that. Okay, yes, I can help you with that, absolutely. Now, this is an HOA regime. Let's see, you mentioned you were Mexican. Okay, married, single. Okay, single. Oh, why is that? You know, with a beautiful house like this, you'd have 3 or 4 wives. Okay, no, just kidding there, Joe. A little Mexican humor there. Okay, like I mentioned, guys, on purpose, I skipped a couple of parts. Can someone tell me what they were? You guys taking notes? Just a little explanation. Obviously, in that first phone call with the owner, I might not talk about that good faith deposit. You know, that's just not something that's normal. But as you notice, I kind of talked about it anyway, just to cover up, just to ensure that that little box gets checked off. By mentioning to him, have you sold homes before? Yes. So you're aware of good faith deposit, escrow. You have to realize this standard was written in English, guys, and then translated in Spanish, and something got lost in the translation. So I'm thinking that good faith deposit, when it was written, was actually talking about escrow, to be honest with you. But anyway, so what did I miss, evaluators? Hello? Don't make me. Okay, Danny, what did I miss? Go ahead, Deb. Didi. No, I can't hear you.
Did you ask about speaking English in every element? Is that where we're supposed to do?
Actually, you know what?
You did twice.
I did twice, and it's actually only written in there twice. If you notice, it's written in here too. and number 5, and it's written in number 3, and actually
Okay.
number 2. I'm not going to mark you down if you just ask it one time, guys. The only time where I think you should ask again is if there was somebody else, the wife or the girlfriend, and you might not have asked that question. That's not. I mean, even though it's part of the standard, and you should say it every single time, I think it's kind of redundant, and the client will look at you like, "What the hell?" You know, how many times are you going to ask me that? And so I'm just okay with you asking once and continuing. Okay. I got a question here from. Right here, where it talks about the comparative market analysis. Present a comparative market analysis. Now, obviously, I don't even know the home yet, so I can't really present a complete CMA, right? So what I normally do here is I kind of say, okay, I took the liberty of doing a pre-comparative market analysis based on the details of the home that you provided to me and my knowledge of this area and the homes that are up for sale. So this is good now that I've seen your home and seen, wow, you know, the incredible finishes in it. Well, obviously, it's a little bit more than what I had in mind, but this is just a starting base, okay? The other thing I didn't mention, guys, was...
in the difference between the escrituras?
Or closing costs.
Closing costs.
Where does it say that? Besides, why would I talk closing costs with the owner?
Never mind.
Okay. Don't jump. Don't just follow the order. The other thing I didn't mention was number 5, the last one in number 5. Ask the property owner of their interest in real need for hiring a real estate professional. And I didn't mention it on reason because you guys in Los Cabos seem to have a problem with that one. You know, oh, I can't ask the owner why he's selling the house because, you know, I don't want to know because it's private. Well, you know what? In this particular standard, ask the owner why he's selling the house. Now, I did not mention anything regarding capital gains or anything like that at this point. It does come up in the conversation in the next part where I'm explaining well, basically, I mean, I could have mentioned it in the process and how it works as far as, you know, this is the process, and of course you realize that you might have to pay, you know, capital gains tax. But actually, if I go a little bit further and I go in performance 2, here we go. Presents the real estate consulting service. It's almost like they have me doing it twice, honestly. But in this part, I'm pretty much already with the exclusive listing agreement. I've checked out the paperwork. I've done the complete CMA, and at the bottom it says informing owner of the tax liability of the sale rental of the property. So that's where I would mention the capital gains. Trust me, everything's mentioned on here at least once, maybe not in the order that we do it normally. Okay. But in this one, for example, rights and obligations of the parties. Now you realize that your rights are, you know, if you cancel on me or there's a certain fee, you're gonna have to pay some tax, capital gains tax possibly, blah, blah, blah. You know, this contract is for a year. I'm gonna pre-screen the buyers. Explaining the difference between the service provider and other options. We kind of already did that. Just do it a little bit again. How the agent works, my particular style is doing this. My sales history, once again, the commission, and this is what you're going to be paying in capital gains, or, you know, we could determine that later. You guys, okay, the way that we're going to do this standard is you guys are going to team up in 2s, okay? Where one of you is going to play the role of the real estate agent, and the other one's going to be the person helping them along as the seller first, and the buyer, and then buyer-seller. Okay, so we're going to role play a little bit. Well, 2 things, guys. If I let you continue talking, and let you do the whole thing, the whole shebang, and as you notice, it's pretty long. If I let you do the whole thing, that could mean one of 2 things. Number 1, I had doubts the whole time whether you were passing or not. Or number 2, I really enjoyed your presentation or your performance, and I wanted to hear a little bit more. So there might come a point where I might say, you know what, okay, you've convinced me, I've heard enough, and we might switch roles. That's a big might. We might not. Be prepared to cover the whole thing, okay? So as far as searching for property owners, I think using information, let me jump here. This is a longer presentation than you guys need today. I covered all that. Explains the differences, present CMA, fees, terminology. Oh, when we're talking about terminology according to the nature of the property, that's basically, is it private property? Is it a property in an HOA regime? It's basically talking about the regimes, okay? The real interest in selling the home. So this is the documentation. Here's where I'm really going to know whether you know what you're talking about. So requiring documentation. If you don't mention all the documentation that's important, then I'm going to kind of question you a little bit on that one. Okay. Obtains personal information from the owner, blah, blah, blah. Okay. As I said, in this particular standard, guys, this is where the difficulty usually lies. It usually lies in the fact, in the documents that you need to turn in. So, number 1 says, the fact sheet of the property must contain the following items. Okay, there it is. So I don't want you to turn. I don't want you to turn in 5, 10 different pages or parts of documents from other documents in order to meet this requirement. This is the most important thing I'm going to say today. You are not answering the standard. Okay, because a lot of people take the standard and basically they figure that it's like it's a test of some sort. It includes services and infrastructure of the area. The services and infrastructure of the area are blah, 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 blah. Okay, that's usually what they put. That's not what they're asking for. They're asking the fact sheet, one fact sheet, not 20 pages, one fact sheet. The fact sheet of the property contains the following. Now, in you guys' case in Los Cabos, you pretty much have most of the information on there in your MLS fact sheet. Your fact sheets do include services and infrastructure of the area. Hold on. Okay, they do include the location. They do not have a map of the exact location of the property, so you need to add that on there. They normally have building materials used. Special facilities are included. You normally do not have a floor plan of the property. You need to include it on there, okay? And you normally don't have the legal situation of the property in your fact sheet, correct? Now let me open up an example. Julio. Okay. This is, for example, it's Century 21 here. Remember, first page cover sheet. Who are you with your contact information? I don't need you. I don't need you to put this stuff on there. You just added it on there. But once again, it is one fact sheet. One fact sheet with all that information on there. If your fact sheet does not have all the information that this standard requires, no problema, amigos. Just add it on there. Or you could do an annex. You could do a page 2 of a fact sheet. I'll allow that. And there you could answer some of the stuff that's not on here. So for example, the first thing this thing asks me is services and infrastructure of the zone. Okay. You've got connectivity, electricity, water, and sewage. He actually went a little bit above and beyond, and he did it, with pens and colors. And the important thing, guys, is I need to know where the information is at. Let me give you another example because you don't need to go as hard as April did here. Where's my La Paz one? Okay. Okay. What this is to me. This is actually not a fact sheet from your MLS. This is a fact sheet that was created for this particular standard. Why? Because I know that your fact sheets don't look like this. Okay. And so she created one fact sheet for this particular standard. Services, infrastructure of the area, special installations, state of conservation, legal situation, documents with its accounts, construction materials, distribution. And she highlighted or put the number there on the left-hand side of 1.1, 1.2, 1.6, basically making it as easy as possible for me to know that that information in yellow covers the information that the standard is asking for. We got that? Okay, and she threw in a map in there and everything. So this is just one example. Let me see if I can give you one last example regarding the fact sheet. Now, I'm not saying, guys, that you need to. This is perfect. This is a beautiful one. Okay, this is what I want, guys. I want you to use the numbers in the corner, like 1.2 covers, this is the. Let's see, what was 1.2? The second paragraph where it talks about the distribution. of the apartment, construction type. It also talks about the services and infrastructure of the area. So if you do it like this, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, that's what I want. In this standard, there's it's going to be 40, 50 pages to 80 pages, depending on how you guys condense it. Okay, and so I need to be able to find the information quickly. If I don't, then I'm going to be a nitpicker and I'm going to find errors. But if you do it this way, I'm a little bit more lenient. But it's not just me, guys. This actually goes to someone else after I'm done, and they evaluate my work. And if they have a hard time finding the information, then they're going to say that it's not there. So we need to make it as easy for them to find the information. Now, in this case, if you notice, one of the things not in this Flex MLS sheet is the whole plan of the property. Well, as we can see here, distribution of the property, they added it on as an annexum or an addendum, right? You can do that. Distribution 1.2, map of the location 1.2, the croquis right there. So as long as it's on there, okay? So once again, if you can add it onto the fact sheet or you can add it on as part of the fact sheet. Now, hold on, let me. I also sent you guys a products needed right here. Okay. Okay, so make sure that you cover every single part, guys, because every part has a weight value. And if you don't cover it, if it's not there and you don't tell me why it's not there, then I'm going to assume that you just didn't put it in because you didn't want to, okay? If something does not apply, okay, so for example, floor plan of the property. If you're turning in a piece of land, well, there's no floor plan. Okay, that's okay, you can do that. But you just need to know, let me know on there, this property does not require a floor plan because it's a piece of land, okay? The next products that you need to turn in is you need to turn the whole client file of the property. What does it include? The first thing should be plans of the buildings, the deed or equivalent. I do not need all 50 pages of the escrituras or the bank trust. All I need is the first 3 pages and the last 2. The demarcation, boundary of the property, certificate of no liens, proof of payment of services, documentation related to the marital status, okay, legal status of residency here in Mexico. And this kind of confuses people sometimes, this one. Presents documentation related to permits and land use regulations for operations in federal zones. This only applies to beachfront properties that have that federal concession to use that the little space in between where the ocean starts and where the property starts, okay? If it's an apartment or if it's not beachfront, it does not apply. So just write, no permit for use of for land use regulations and operations in federal zone is required. As simple as that. Let's look at an example. Okay, copy of the plans, there it is. Escrituras, okay. Notice how they're making it easy for me by having the 2.2 there, okay. Escrituras, so we're gonna have a couple of pages of escrituras there. That's beautiful. Okay, there's the signature page. Next thing, it's talking about the demarcation. Okay, this is the demarcation document. There we go, perfect. Next thing is certificate of no liens. There we go. Okay, next thing is paying of services. The CFE bill, HOA, letter, that's fine. Marriage certificates, okay. Identification of the owner, okay. And permits and regulation land use, they wrote does not apply. No aplica means does not apply, okay. So this is exactly the way that I want you guys to do it. The next thing that they're asking for, and I'm not going to go through the whole document, guys. I'm just giving you some examples, so because otherwise I'd just be giving you, telling you exactly how to do it. And you guys are professionals and should know how to do it. Okay, so as far as the registration of visits forms, the first thing that they're asking for is includes properties exhibited in open house. Here we go, open house. It could be a newspaper magazine ad. It could be a screen capture from an online site, etc. Okay, more open houses here. This is the registration of visits form. Okay, this is what I want. Oh, do not turn in blank forms. Okay, I don't want blank forms. It needs to be a real life situation, as close to real as possible. Okay, so let's see. So we've got the advertisement there. We've got the Facebook there. Okay, that meets the requirements for that one. Next is your presentation of real estate services. Okay, and let's see how she did it here. Okay, she basically, she basically got her presentation of real estate services that the company uses and highlighted the part that is important or that the standard is looking for. So, for example, contains information regarding the contacts. There it is. There's the information, contact information. Explains the differences of the services offered. 1.3. So in 1.4, okay. Let's see, where's 1.3? 1.6, doesn't, okay. I would refer to the right order. 1.3, the differences between the service and offered. Here we go. Okay, sounds good. And so anyway, so we'll go. Regarding that one, let me see. Normally in your presentation of services offered, the one thing you guys might not have is the commission rates. That's not something that you normally don't put on there in your guys' case, and the fiscal obligations. Well, you know what? For the sake of this exercise, just add it on. Okay, next document, exclusive listing agreement. Now, you guys have wonderful exclusive listing agreements, but I can tell you already, there's 3 or 4 things that you guys do not include in your exclusive listing agreement. Okay, what this is saying, read this. The exclusive listing agreement must contain the following. So it needs to be part of everything on here needs to be part of your exclusive listing agreement. I'm not saying change your exclusive listing agreement, guys. I'm just saying add this part. If something is on there that you guys don't normally use, just add it at the bottom as an annex. Okay, so what do you guys normally not have on here? You normally do not have the information of official identifications of the owners. Okay, that's something that you normally don't have on there. You normally don't have whether the property is occupied or not, and you normally don't have whether includes instructions on how to show the property. Now, I might be wrong in your case. Remember, I'm talking to many different real estate agencies here, but I'm just letting you know. So how do I want you guys to deal with that one? Do it like this. Okay. Once again, you need to put in red or letters that I can find easily where the information is at. In this case, Alberto Javier, and this is his passport number. So that covers the whole identification with which the person represents themselves. So just do it like this, guys. Let me see what else. Let me see if he added anything on here at the bottom. Okay, está bien, blah, 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 blah. It's kind of a long exclusive listing agreement. Diablo, coño. Okay, let me see. Okay, where's my inventory? Okay, I don't see my inventory here. Okay, so maybe this was a mistake. Let's see, my inventory is number what? Hold on, I need to check this inventory. Oh, wait a second, this doesn't have a, there's no inventory. Oh, here we go, number 12. So that's 2.212. Okay, so I'm looking for 12 here. 9. Now, you are allowed to miss a couple of things, but for example here, I'm not seeing a 12, guys. So this person got deducted some points. There we go. Okay, appliances, secadora, lavadora. Okay, he meets the requirement. Now, they didn't add this on as part of the exclusive listing agreement, but they added it on as kind of like an addendum to the exclusive listing agreement. So I'll allow that. Okay. Okay. I think that's okay for now. Let me see what else. Okay, include signatures of the parties, any restrictions on the HOA. You need to basically cover everything on there. Write it in, guys. It doesn't need to be pretty, okay? You could write it in pen, you know, add it on there somehow. Professional marketing plan needs to include all of the, easy. Okay, here, write this down, please. People get really confused with this follow-up report for some reason. I don't need 4 or 5 pages for this. I need 1 page. It's an email that you're sending to the client where you're letting them know, hey, Mr. Joe Smith, just to let you know, the activities that we've done for the selling of your home are posted online, published in Gringo Gazette, have shown your house 20 times in the last month, etc. Number 2, you know, just based on the comments of our clients, I'd like to suggest that we maybe reduce the price of your home a 5% reduction. It'll still be in market value, but maybe we'll get some more motivated buyers. So the reason for this price change is because 20 out of the 20 people that saw this home said it was a little expensive. And by the way, Mr. Smith, did you get my Christmas card last year? You know, just to make sure I have your right mailing address. Okay, so this is like an just put it can even be a letter on your company stationery. It could be an email that you send to this guy. It's a follow-up report on what you've done to sell the home. Now, regarding the next 2 items on the list, the preliminary budget regarding the closing cost and the final closing cost, guys, it's pretty much the same document. Now, there's some things on here like the whole includes the cost of concession for operating in federal zones. That's usually not required. So that's usually not something that a Stewart Title or one of the other title companies is going to have. Now, let me see how my buddies here did it. Actually, we'll go here with April's document. Okay, perfect. You did a perfect job. Why perfect? Because I can find all the information easily. Here's 5.18, 5.112, 5.12, 5.1 cost, blah, blah, blah. Here we go. So everything's on. If something does not apply, just put a big 0 on there, guys. Or if you could use the document that you have, and if there's something that that does not apply to that property, just put it in the bottom. 5.17, cost of concession property federal zone does not apply. Now, difference between this document and the next one is this one says buyer's estimated closing costs. The next one should say final closing costs, correct? Let me look at another example. Now, like I said, it doesn't need to be pretty, guys. I mean, you know, this is the marketing plan. As long as it covers all the information, that's all that matters, okay? You know, other people turn in 5, 10 pages of a marketing plan. That's fine too, but it could just be something like this, honestly, okay? Market analysis, blah, 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 blah. Here we go. Seguimiento. Okay. Here we go. So once again, as far as the preliminary closing costs and the final closing costs, it doesn't need to be anything like, you know, out of this world, guys. It could just be this person did it in Excel. As long as the information's on there. It doesn't need to be pretty. One thing that I do require, though, and standard requires, is that if you're going to turn in a document like this, at least have the logo of your company up on top, so that I know that it's actually you guys that did it, right? Now, remember, this says presupuesto, which means preliminary closing costs or budget closing costs, and the next one says you don't need to throw in the index either, guys. That just takes some more time. This is would be the final. Desglose final, final closing costs, okay? It's pretty much the same document, maybe even the same numbers. It might change a little bit, but anyway. So this is an example of the final closing costs. Go ahead, Didi, take a picture. Okay. Now, regarding the whole file at the end of the standard, you can throw everything in there again, as she did. There you go. The only difference between this file and the original file is going to be the escrituras, and I have a different name. Other than that, I think all the other documents are going to be the same, guys. Now, last but not least, and for some reason you guys have some trouble with this one too. Here we go. The checklist. Here, what do I call it in the standard? I call it the post-sale follow-up verification list. Make it in Excel. Don't make it complicated. Remember, do not answer the questions. Just make sure that you cover the questions. This is saying this is one list. So to me, it's one page. Here it is. Okay. Turned in the title of property to the notary, turned in the title of property. This is the list of services that are required. The tax and obligations. Okay, okay, okay. Yes, no. Let's see how Deanna did it, just out of curiosity. Everyone's got a different style. See, to me, this works just as well. I mean, you don't need to make it more complicated. It's saying post-sale follow-up verification list. Yes, I turned in the title of the property. I gave all services required to the clients. I explained the parts of the taxes, or they were covered. Status and migratory. It's a checklist, guys. That's what they're asking for. And at the end, they're saying signature of the include signature that the keys were turned in or were handed over to the new owners. Okay. Any question on the product part of the standard of competency, guys? This is your time right now. Huh? Nope, nope, nope. Okay. Let me go. Okay. No questions on the products? I confused you enough already? Yeah, okay, well, that's good. That's the reason why we have the session on the 12th as well. Just to, double check, because I have a little bit of leniency as far as the diagnostic goes. I have a little bit of a leniency as far as the diagnostic goes only. I don't have any leniency as far as the documents goes, because whatever you guys turn in, I'm going to turn into to Conocer, and that's when someone else might evaluate my work. So that needs to be perfect, and it needs to be numbered so I can find everything, highlighted so I can find everything, please. What else can I tell you regarding that? Okay. Now, as far as the third part, remember, this has three parts, three components, that you could earn points for. You've got the performance part, you've got the document parts, and you've got the questionnaire. As far as the questionnaire, guys, I can tell you right now, 15 questions. A lot of the questions have to do with the differences between what ends up being an escritura and a bank trust, how to obtain a bank trust, and there are some rental questions on the standard. So the rental questions, for example, would be something to the, besides signing a rental agreement, what other documentation is important? What documentation should you ask a potential renter, before they rent, that kind of stuff. They're pretty easy, guys. I wouldn't worry about that. We'll talk a little bit more of the questionnaire in person, as far as what areas you need to know. You don't need to figure out it's 15 questions, you'll be done in 3 minutes. I mean, it really is that easy. It's multiple guess, A, B, C, or D, so you should have no problem with it. Okay? Any questions up until now? Gabriel? Okay, we'll go one by one, since you guys are a little shy today. Gabriela. ¿Qué tal? ¿Ya entendiste todo?
Sí, ya lo leí todo y ahora mismo no tengo preguntas. A lo mejor sí tenía una pregunta de cosas que no venían en los elementos, en mis formatos, pero explicaste que mientras nosotros expliquemos por qué no se incluyó,
right.
Podemos
okay, perfect. So basically what we just said, guys, is she had some doubts regarding some of the stuff that her particular property doesn't need. And I said, that's no problem. If it's not required, you just need to let me know why it's not required. It needs to be somewhere on there. If, for example, if they're asking for the marriage certificate and the guy's single and you don't put in a marriage certificate because it's not required, well, I'm going to assume that you made a mistake. You need to put on there marriage certificate 2.27. Marriage certificate is not needed because client is single. That's the important part. Okay. Well, thank you, Gabriela, and have a great one. Danny, your turn, buddy. Turn on your mic. Turn off your mic, Gabriela.
Yeah, I don't have any questions. No tengo preguntas yo. Todo hasta ahorita.
Okay, muy bien. Dean. Turn off your mic, Danny. Dean, Zach? No? Louis and Buddy? No?
Yeah, no questions, Javier.
Go ahead, Dean.
Sorry, no questions.
Okay, perfect. Samantha, any questions? No. Anna?
No, sir, none.
Okay, perfect. Anna, you're set? Christine?
Yep, okay. Hey, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, so we have two other people that are working out of our office. Can we work on this together? Is that against the rules?
Yes, you can work on it together, but I mean, at least change the picture so that it looks like your file.
Yeah.
Okay.
I gotcha. No,
I've had people turn in documents with someone else's, well, obviously they copied the portfolio from somebody and they forgot to, change the picture. I mean, it should be personalized. You can turn in the same, I'm not going to be verifying that this, wait a second, I've seen this property before. No, I don't care. But it needs to be personalized for you. So if there's an open house and it's got someone else's picture,
Gotcha.
like, wait a second, what's going on? But yeah, you can work on it together. And I suggest you have to review it. Okay.
Okay.
Wait a second, I'm noticing this is asking, where's this? But the most important for me, guys, I mean, put 2.11, 2.12, and highlight the part that the standard is asking for, because we're talking 90 pages sometimes. And to 90 pages to make sure that, this document is in there, it's a pain in the butt, honestly.
So we should.
Yes.
Sorry, Christine. Right.
That's all right.
I had a question. I don't have a partner, so you'll assign partner that day on the 12th?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Turn on your mic.
All good, no questions.
Didi? No, cero, perfecto mundo. Okay, well, if there's no questions, then I'll let you guys get to work, because I know this this standard does require a lot of documentation. Like I said, that's the hard part. That's the hard part of the standard. But the other standard, the 110, that you guys can also take, but this is the only one that's offered in English. The 110 you turn in 6 pages. It's so easy, but the test is like really hard. So there's a balance there. Yeah, the other one I wouldn't pass. The other one I barely passed the test. Let me put it that way. This test my mom could pass. But the product part is the difficult part here, guys. Okay, well, if there's no...
Javier, it's Samantha. Can I just remind you to send the questionnaire?
One more time.
Can I just remind you to send the questionnaire? The diagnostic.
Yes, I will. I will send it out to all of you right now.
Thank you very much.
One last question. Where can we find the recording for this?
It needs to get updated, downloaded from the system, and I might be able to send it to you tomorrow. Let me share my screen again. Text 5579404066. Whoops. 5579404066. Okay, guys, this is my number, my WhatsApp. Don't ask me dumb questions, please. First of all, I don't answer the phone, guys. I'll tell you that right now. But I do check my WhatsApp on a regular basis. And so, yeah, just don't ask me dumb questions, please. Don't ask me about licensing. I will refer you to somebody else. All I do is the evaluation part. And I'll go ahead and send an email right now with the diagnostic for everybody. Okay, well, if there's no further questions, well then, hasta la vista, Los Cabos, and we'll see you guys next Thursday.
Thank you. Bye.
Ciao.
Okay, how do I get out of here?